So, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar on a very important and relevant topic. So, this is about responsible use of digital technology, the do's and don'ts for students. So, I am Fredly Buko, your online host slash moderator for this session. So, we are living in a world where digital technology has become an integral part of our everyday lives. So, whether it's for studying, communicating, or even entertainment. So, however, as we use technology, it is important to understand how to be responsible digital citizens. So, today we'll explore the do's and don'ts when using digital tools, ensuring we stay very safe, very respectful, and very mindful in the online world. So, our resource speaker for this webinar is a faculty member at Silliman University, teacher Jansen Palama, LPT, and MAED. Sir Jan, the virtual floor is yours.
Thank you, Sir Fred. Good afternoon, everyone. A moment I'd like to share my screen very well. Okay, I hope my screen is now visible. A virtual thumbs up will do. Very good. Thank you so much. Okay, again, good afternoon. I'm John. For those who don't know me, my name is John C. Palama. I'm actually an advocate on the responsible use of social media and at the same time advocate on the responsible use of generative AI. This afternoon, I will be sharing to you on how to use existing digital technologies responsibly. And I will also be sharing to you the do's and don'ts for you as a student on the use of digital technology in the classroom. The following are those set of objectives and or outline for this session. At the end of this session, you should be able to understand the basics of digital technology and artificial intelligence as a whole. Second, you should be able to explain the integration of digital technology and artificial intelligence in Silliman education through technology enhanced flexible learning and or AI framework. At the same time, you should be able to raise awareness of ethical consideration in using artificial intelligence and digital tools, which this now falls our main objective or goal for this webinar on the do's and don'ts of on the use of digital technology in the classroom. And lastly, we should be able to become a responsible user of our individual accounts and our social media accounts. And aside from that, to our social networking accounts. I'd like to begin first by defining what is digital technology as a whole. In the context of UNESCO in the year 2024, just this year, I think that was published in the month of March 2024, digital technology has become a social necessity. When we say social necessity, this is actually the needs and a need to ensure education as a basic human right, especially in a world experiencing more frequent crisis and conflicts. Now, from a contextualized definition, digital technology are often, defined as electronic tools, systems, devices, or resources that can generate, aside from resources that can generate, can also store and process data at the same time. Well-known example of social media, well-known example of digital technologies or online games. We actually have multimedia and even our mobile phones. Now, as we have observed, digital technology is not just about a computer or a device inside the classroom, but digital technology has transformed how people communicate, the way people learn, and at the same time, the integration of information and communication technology in the workplace. Now, the Commission on Higher Education in the Philippines, or CHED, has acknowledged that the online distance learning presents several challenges for students and teachers. And what are these challenges? One challenge is the lack of access to technology and at the same time, dependable internet connection. These challenges were emphasized from the Commission on Higher Education during the online distance learning in the year 2020 to 2022. Because of this, online learning and artificial intelligence link through digitalization of education that stimulated the introduction of machine learning, making it possible to transform online learning in the educational process or in application in educational processes. Now, this is according to Pantelemon in the year 2021. Online learning, as you can see on the statement, and artificial intelligence are linked. Why? Because it is the emergence of digitalization of ICT in education. And that is stimulated of the introduction of the machine learning, started of automations in the educational processes. AI, or artificial intelligence, at the same time makes it possible to really transform online learning and make it really more attractive. UNESCO, on the other hand, in the year 2023, is urging countries, not just the Philippines, but different countries, to set their own standards for the way technology is designed and used in education, such as it never, take note of the word, it never replaces in person teacher-led instruction and supports the shared objectives of quality education for all. What is this all about? UNESCO, in the year 2023, issues urgent call for appropriate use of technology. Again, appropriate use of technology in education. Since UNESCO is reminding us to these integration of ICT or technology or digital technology in the classroom, perhaps. What is now the role of artificial intelligence in education? And how does UNESCO support it? What do you think is the role now of artificial intelligence in education? For sure, artificial intelligence has the potential to address many big challenges in education, as well as bringing innovation to teaching and learning practices, right? But in this context, in this article, UNESCO really emphasizes that artificial intelligence should be developed and applied in a way that prioritizes human well-being, our ethics, our values, ensuring it enhances education while protecting, while safeguarding at the same time human rights and dignity. So then, UNESCO supports the potential of artificial intelligence to achieve inclusive and equitable quality education while using a human-centered approach. This human-centered approach from UNESCO ensures artificial intelligence take note of the word, serves people rather than replacing human interaction or replacing human or creating unintended harm. At the same time, the application of these technologies, these digital technologies, must be guided of inclusion and of equity. Now, with that, The Silliman University adopted the use of MySoul. For sure, you are familiar with MySoul or the Silliman Online University Learning as our learning management system for teaching and learning during the pandemic and as of now. During the pandemic, up until this time, Silliman University is still continuing to integrate and adopt flexible enhanced or technology enhanced flexible learning to classrooms. And this is to enhance our ways or methods in integrating technology in their classrooms. Flexible learning allows students to access educations in different ways, often using digital tools or platforms that are enabled to happen beyond traditional classroom setting. I know for sure that you have an experience to this. Aside from having conventional classes or traditional face-to-face classes on the use of technology enhanced flexible learning, this not just only include to to a blended learning, but this might probably include different approaches, such as hybrid learning, right? Online classes, and of course, on the use of these approaches, the use of educational technology are still present, right? This is to provide students with more control over time, pace, and place of learning at the same time. That's why some teachers usually have or embed their assessment or shall we say content in the learning management system, where students can review at home, where students can actually have a supplemental um, resources aside from their learnings in the site inside the classroom. And that is one way of integrating technology enhanced flexible learning. And even up to this day, Silliman University is onto technology enhanced flexible learning. That's why we are still using MySoul or the Silliman Online University learning management system. Now, we are in the revolution of artificial intelligence in Silliman University through the Office of the Dr. Mariano C. Lau Global Study Center has actually designed a generative AI integration framework for teaching, for learning, and not just for teaching and learning, but also for operations, for administration and operations. This framework that is designed is helps strengthens its commitment to really embrace digital transformation that leads to a multitude of innovation. And that is one way of um, continuing the flexible enhance, right? Or technology enhanced flexible learning. The integration of these artificial intelligence in Silliman University aims to really embrace technological advancements that is increases personalized learning, productivity, and of better customer and support, not just customer, but also students' queries, right? Or perhaps your question to have a better work balance and, of course, valuing the existence of these innovations. Then just recently, that I think last week, I think Silliman University actually embraces and declares on the use of artificial intelligence to transform education on the approved implementing guidelines on the integration of artificial intelligence in the classroom. So the Silliman University Board of Trustees has officially approved the policies and implementing guidelines for integration of artificial intelligence into Silliman University's educational framework. So for those who followed the Silliman University page, then you were able to see the context on the integration of the framework to Silliman education. And later on, I will be sharing to you what are the contents for the implementing guidelines and policies that the framework has to offer. Okay, so this one, if you have seen this in the page, then the content itself, there's actually a link over there. You can click on that for you to access the content of the the framework. So these guidelines are actually based on the university's AI integration framework, which was approved in the year 2023. So the framework was actually proposed in the year 2023, and it was also still approved in the year 2023. In terms of framework, we're talking here about framework. Now, in terms of the policies and guidelines, since after the framework, there should be policies or implementation or policies or guidelines inside the classroom, right, on the use of these artificial intelligences. Um, it was actually approved last week, and the newly approved policies and guidelines will now be widely disseminated to ensure that all stakeholders are informed and can effectively engage with the university's AI initiatives. If I may ask for those who are joining our webinar this afternoon, are you aware that Silliman University has AI integration framework already approved by the Board of Trustees? Give me a virtual thumbs up for those who know already that the Silliman is now embracing artificial intelligence in education. Does anyone from the participants was able to know or perhaps get the news on Silliman's uh, integration of artificial intelligence in education? Or maybe perhaps some of you um, followed the page and looked for the news about the artificial intelligence of Silliman education. And I believe my students are actually familiar with the integration of artificial intelligence in education because I did this in the class and I'm teaching them um, in terms of how we will integrate artificial intelligence in the classroom. And they're all present in the webinar this afternoon. So I'd like to acknowledge them for joining the webinar. Okay, so for those who don't know about the artificial intelligence framework, I'll be sharing to you later on the do's and don'ts. And do's and don'ts are actually part of the contents in the framework, right? And Sir Bradley was also giving you a link to read the 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 details of the framework. Okay, now the implementing guidelines and policy of artificial intelligence in the classroom is now accessible for everyone. Again, I think Sir Fredley is already giving you the link to access the implementing guidelines and policy of AI in the classroom and the integration of framework for Silliman University the community, just for the information of everybody, especially for those who don't know about the integration of AI. This was actually formulated under the leadership of our university president, Dr. McCann. This, I think, she emphasizes the digital transformation in higher education institution and should be, carried out ethically and responsibly. That's why we keep on sharing a webinar or having a webinar on the responsible use of digital technology, specifically on the use of artificial intelligence. All right. But before we share to you the contents on the do's and don'ts of artificial intelligence, I wanted to make use of the chat box and I want you to share or type in what artificial intelligence or generative AI platform or application did you use so far for learning? Again, I want you to use the chat box and type in what is your most utilized or frequently utilized artificial intelligence platform applications for learning. Okay. Sige, I'll give you time to type in your preferred platforms. Where in fact at the end of this session, I'll also be sharing to you a link of another webinar that consists of different artificial intelligence platform or Gen AI or generative AI platforms and or softwares that may perhaps help you in your research. If you have research classes, then that tools may help you also. Don't be afraid of sharing the you know the platforms and tools because we already have an approved artificial intelligence framework and at the same time policy and guidelines implementation in the Silliman University education. So feel free. Yes, very good. We have Cassie, ChatGPT. Aside from ChatGPT, according to a research, the most utilized and the most utilized platform AI platform is ChatGPT. Yes, and I'd like to share more about that because there are now updates of ChatGPT, Gemini by Google, and that was actually formerly called as Bard. Yes, yes. We also have thanks, Franz. We also have an idea from Aldre. We have Copilot. Very good. How about the others? We are 30 plus here. Killbot. Yes, Killbot is also considered an AI or artificial intelligence. What else? Thanks, Kirill. We have answers from yes. Ian, his answer is Grammarly. Yes, that's correct. So the thing that you have mentioned here are actually artificial intelligences platforms and our softwares that may help us to generate responses and may help us answering our queries, right? And if you're familiar with SciSpace, if you're familiar with what we call this Perplexity, and if also aside from SciSpace and Perplexity, there is also AI in Canva, right? AI in Canva. It's actually the same. It's actually the same with the context of having a Chat GPT account. So for those who have Canva account, there's also an AI generator in your Canva account. Right? I would like to share to you to that on the use of my previous presentation last time, still in Silliman about generative AI or responsible use of generative AI in the classroom for students. Okay, and take note that the approved guidelines or the approved what we call this policy of artificial intelligence is in the classroom has now different parts of the in terms of content, and the do's and don'ts are in part 4, right? As you can see on the screen, part 4 is about do's and don'ts of on the use of artificial intelligence. So what is this? The part 4 focuses on the do's and don'ts, specifically on content generation, assessment, research case studies, and terminal report. So this section really provides guidelines to help teachers, not just teachers, but also students, to effectively and ethically incorporate AI into their educational practices. And for those of you who wasn't able to still review the implementing guidelines of Silliman University, here's part 4 of the guidelines. So part 4 of the artificial intelligence policies and guidelines of Silliman documents focuses on the do's and don'ts of using AI tools across various academic disciplines. So this section provides guidelines to help teachers and students effectively and ethically, take note, ethically incorporate AI into their educational practices. This covers key areas such as content generation, aside from content generation, do's and don'ts for assessment, do's and don'ts for research, and ensuring that artificial intelligence tools or AI tools are used responsibly and transparently to enhance learning and maintain what? Academic integrity. That's the function of the do's and don'ts. Now, I'd like to share to you what are the do's and don'ts of the artificial intelligence in the classroom. Do's. Let's start with do's. In terms of content generation, like say for example, composing a essay or composing an essay. Do's. Number one is to understand AI assistance. You know, when using AI to generate an idea for your essay on a specific topic, I want you to recognize the tool. We're talking here, understand AI assistant. The tool just help organize your thoughts and suggest potential arguments. However, you should still rely on your own critical thinking to choose which points are relevant and to develop your final outline. Meaning to say, you need to understand the role of artificial intelligence. And the role of artificial intelligence is just only as a learning tool, right? So understand the role of artificial intelligence as an assistive tool in content generation for research, organization, and language refinement. So I wanted to really recognize the importance of AI and to also, aside from recognizing, to also understand that AI is just only our assistant. And that, of course, does not replace our unique thinking, our unique idea. Second do's is to ensure originality. Say, let's read, ensure that the content generated with AI assistance remains original and reflects personal understanding and insight. So, for example, after getting suggestions from artificial intelligence for your essay on a specific topic, make it sure to rewrite the content in your own words. To ensure originality, meaning to say, do not just copy and paste. In my class, for example, in empowerment technology, there is actually an exit ticket. And questions in the exit ticket is very subjective in nature. And I will always reiterate this to my class to also consider the unique idea, not just too reliant, perhaps, on the artificial intelligence. Meaning to say, AI is not the one attending my class. So the subjective question that was being asked in the exit ticket is your personal idea, your personal experiences, since you as a person or as a student were the one who attended my class. There's no problem about getting information of AI, but I want you to really read what is the response of AI and also write it in your own way of understanding. This will help us to do the second do's, which is to ensure originality of our work. The third do's is, in terms of content generation, is review AI generated content. So review and edit the AI generated content to ensure accuracy, coherence, and alignment with the assignment and requirements. What will happen if you will not review your generated AI content? There are tendencies that parts of the answers of AI, especially an AI doesn't know much about yourself, there are tendency that the content that AI has given you is beyond your standard. What I mean is beyond your standard, you can actually assess yourself, how you write, what are the terminologies you use, how you compose an essay, for example. And then if there's a chance that you will just copy and paste, then the tendency, some of it is beyond your standard in terms of the way you answer the questions. So better to review the AI generated content. Now, aside from reviewing, let's go back to number one, understand AI assistance, and then write your own understanding to AI's answer. And that is not unethical. It's ethical because you just use AI as a tool, and then you will be writing by yourself on the idea of what is that all about. Just make it sure that you do cross-referencing and check whether these articles are existing or sites are existing perhaps. You really need to review AI generated content. Next is last do's of content generation. We have learn from AI suggestion. Use AI generated suggestion as a learning opportunities, right? I always remind this to my class since they're asking me about, sir, are we allowed to make use of AI in the classroom? Yes, but use this as a learning opportunities. What is learning opportunities, sir? What is learning opportunities? Use this as a learning tool. Meaning to say, once the AI give you an answer, do not just copy and paste. You understand, you write it in your own words and check whether these, statements, these contents are existing online or not, just to make it sure that these references are reliable or perhaps valid. Understanding how the tool refines languages and structure for future writing. Okay, well, drafting, for example, an essay on social media, for example, social media is our topic. Take note of how AI improves sentence transitions and flow. Right? Study these improvements to learn how to make your writing smoother for future assignments. So I just want you to learn from AI suggestion. Use it as a learning tool. Use it as a learning opportunity. Next is the don'ts on content generation. First is do not depend solely on AI. AI, right? Do not depend solely on AI. Avoid relying entirely on AI generated content. I just wanted to balance AI assistance with your personal insights and critical thinking. Because AI, right? What will happen if we're too over reliant to AI? That replaces our unique understanding, that replaces our unique knowledge. Because we're too dependent, we're too over reliant. So do not depend solely on AI. Balance. You need to balance AI assistance with your personal insights. And that's my example a while ago. And critical thinking. Avoid using AI to write your essay, right? Without adding your own thoughts or critical thinking or analysis on the question. Right? So do not solely depend on AI. Second, plagiarize AI suggestions. We need to say, do not plagiarize AI suggestion. Do not copy the content or the AI content without proper attribution or understanding. Plagiarism rules still apply. So, for example, do not submit your essay on the specific topic of your class or your assignments. Do not submit it without what? Paraphrasing, without citing sources. If the statement or the paragraph or the idea as a whole is not yours, you need to do citations just to avoid plagiarized content. Lastly, for don'ts, do not overlook personal input. We need to say, do not overlook the importance of personal input and understanding in essay composition. AI should enhance, not replace your unique perspective. This is what I was actually talking about. The AI tools are just the tools to enhance. So are we allowed to make use of the AI tool as a grammar enhancer or grammar corrector? Yes, you can. And that is fine. But take note when you feed AI, do not do not, you know, just copy and paste. Just also add your possible insights and learn from the suggestions and learn from the response. And when you ask for an analysis, for example, to feeding in an AI, make sure to also add your own reflections. Yeah. And this will enhance your analysis and demonstrate your personal connection to what you're asking to AI. So do not overlook your personal input, meaning to say you need to really consider yourself adding your own personal inputs, your own idea to the question that being asked. So that's the first do's and don'ts in terms of content generation. Next, in terms of assessment here, because as students are actually asking, how did the AI integration framework in Silliman applied in terms of quizzes, in terms of performance tasks, in terms of class recitation? Let's start with do's. Again, there are actually three that was stated in the guidelines. And first is use AI for preparation, right? Again, in terms of assessment, you will just make use of artificial intelligence or AI tool for only for preparation. Use AI tools for preparation, such as to review materials, creating study aids, or practicing concepts relevant to assessment. We need to say, shall we say use AI for preparation? Should we say AI as our tutor? Or so we say AI as as our supplemental tool to give supplemental resources, right? So use AI for preparation. Next, seek clarity on AI integration. Seek clarity from instructors on how AI tools may be integrated into assessments to prepare better and understand expectations. So there's no problem of asking your teacher about the AI integration in assessment. Sir, are we allowed to make use of ChatGPT in answering our performance tasks? Are we allowed to use this AI platform, sir, in checking our outline? You need to really ask for clarity for your instructors. Why? Because especially these guidelines here are now implemented, and that depends upon how instructors, teachers applied it to assessment, for example. And seeking clarity is very important. Last, we have collaborate responsibly. Okay, so a collaboration is a must. Collaborate with peers responsibly, sharing insights gained from AI tools while respecting academic integrity. So it would also be best to collaborate with other people, your classmates, right? To share. and also to know what are their perspective on the question, or of course for the benefit of yourself, would also wanted to know what are their ideas aside from my ideas. Maybe perhaps we're the same idea because we're using the same AI tool. So you need to collaborate responsibly. You know, collaboration is very important, and this, benefits students to also learn from the experiences of other people. It's also learn from the experiences of your classmates. And in a discussion or in a collaboration, feel free to really share what you have instilled, what you have researched, what you have gained from that, and so others may learn. Next, don'ts during assessment. Do not use AI during assessment. Do not use AI tools during assessment unless explicitly permitted by teachers. This ensures fair evaluation. Everyone, you should ask clarity again. This don'ts number one will answer do's number two. You should ask clarity for teachers. If the teacher will not allow you to make use of AI during assessment, then that's prohibited. Then follow the instruction. So we already have actually the AI integration framework. That doesn't mean that you are free to use AI platforms during test, because at the end of the day, it's actually the discretion of the teacher if he or she allows you to make use of an AI tool for assessment. Next, don'ts. Number two, do not share your AI generated answer. Avoid sharing AI generated answers directly with peers. Why? That's why there is a need of collaboration in the third one, right? During assessment, as it may compromise the integrity of individual learning. Okay, so avoid sharing AI generated answers. Just be confident of your personal inputs, personal experience, personal ideas, and takeaways from the question. And so, if there's a need of collaboration, then collaborate responsibly. Third, substitute personal understanding. Do not substitute personal understanding. Take note, your idea is unique. Your takeaways is unique. Do not use AI as a substitute for personal understanding. I wanted to, because this ensures that you comprehend concepts rather than relying solely on AI generated responses. What will happen if you're too over reliant to artificial intelligence, especially during discussion, especially during recitation? What will happen if you're too over reliant or dependent to AI? Using AI, right, as a substitute for your own learning can hinder your ability to grasp key concepts and perform well in the exam. If I may ask, who among you here are College of Education students? Give me a virtual thumbs up. College of Education students. A virtual thumbs up will do so that you will be recognized. Only one? May I know the other participants? Who among you here are College of Education students? Okay, there are few, right? Education Few, right? Very few. Now, what I mean to, let's say, for example, we're talking here on do not substitute your personal understanding. Why? Because, this can hinder your ability to grasp the concept and perform well in the exam. Let's say, for example, my example in my previous presentation, my example was actually about a teacher taking licensure examination for teachers because of she's dependent of making use of artificial intelligence or AI every time when she have review. She's over reliant. What will happen during the final licensure examination for teachers or LET? AI cannot help you during the LET because only you yourself, the test booklet, and your paper and your answer sheets are there in the examination room. There's no AI helping you. So do not substitute your personal understanding. Really be content to your idea. Because if you're too over reliant or too over dependent, there are tendencies that these can hinder your ability to learn and perform well in the exam. I'm not saying it's a bad tool, but it's actually a learning tool. That helps you supplement. It's a study buddy, for example. But I hope that doesn't replace your unique idea. Now, the third part of we call this the policy is research, case studies, and terminal reports. For sure, students who are attending the webinar right now are actually having research classes or research topics, especially for senior high school. They're actually having research right now. So you listen. Do's during research, case studies, and terminal reports. To do is to utilize AI for data analysis. We cannot deny the fact that part of research outline or part of the conduction of research is to do data analysis. So use AI tools for data analysis, literature review, and generating insights to enhance the efficiency of research processes. So make use of this, and there's no problem with the use of data analysis. Especially, the very important thing here or keyword here is to do a citation to avoid what? Plagiarism. And later on, again, remind me of the link because I will be sharing to you the link to how we will create an effective review of related literature on the use of an AI tool. And I'll be sharing to you that. Second, consider ethical implications. Consider ethical implications when using an AI research or AI in research, ensuring responsible data handling and transparent report and submit the AI declaration statement. Consider ethical implication. What is this? As you use, for example, since we're talking here about review of related literature, as you use artificial intelligence or AI for literature review of your data and your research, it is crucial to be mindful of the ethical use, right? So you must ensure that the data privacy is respected. Take note, data privacy is respected. Sources is properly cited. And transparency is maintained by submitting a declaration statement. Later on, sir, what's declaration statement? I will be sharing to you what is declaration statement in the next few slides. Third, integrate AI recommendations. So in your research, if there are AI recommendations, and do integrate it. Integrate AI generated recommendations into your research, acknowledging the tools potential to offer valuable insights and suggestions, just to make sure to contextualize and validate. So do not forget to contextualize and validate. So when AI offers you recommendation for your report, for your research, for example, remember again that it is your responsibility to evaluate them carefully. If AI will give you recommendations, I want you as a researcher, you need to what? You need to evaluate them carefully. Take note, AI is a learning tool, not a substitute for your judgment. You should what? Number three, you should validate and contextualize its suggestion by cross-referencing them with your research. Say, for example, when you use ChatGPT in searching a review of related literature, you're looking for a international study, and then you just copy the whole thing, right? A review of related literature on the topic, the effects of online distance learning to education students, and then you feed it to ChatGPT, and ChatGPT gives you response. Now you just copy and paste, even the citation. And what's the problem there? And what's the important thing to be for you to be reminded? You need to validate. You need to contextualize. You need to do cross-referencing. What is cross-referencing, sir? Cross-referencing is you need to check the the copy paste statement to what? To existing websites or to websites, to journal articles. Because that helps you check and verify whether these statements or answers from ChatGPT are reliable or not, or accurate or not. So it's important to do a cross-referencing. What is cross-referencing? You just validate, you just check, just verify, and verify it to different sources. And making sure that these sources are available online and existing online. That is do's and research case studies and terminal reports. How about don'ts? Okay. Do not compromise, number one, do not compromise ethical standards. Do not compromise ethical standard in research. Ensure that AI-driven process adhere to ethical guidelines and research integrity. Do not compromise ethical standards. We say you should not compromise ethical standards when using AI, for example, in your research. For example, if you're using AI to analyze sensitive data, you must ensure that the privacy regulation and ethical guidelines are strictly followed. Ignoring these standards can lead to violations of research integrity, which would have a serious consequence for your work and reputation. So do not compromise ethical standards. Next is do not overlook human expertise. Do not overlook the value of human expertise in research. AI tools should complement, not replace, researchers' critical thinking and judgment. Make it sure to really top for those people who are expert. Meaning to say, topping at people who are not expert is you must not only rely solely to AI. Do not rely solely to AI, but to top an expert or specialized expert perhaps. Right? While AI for sure can assist in organizing or analyzing our information, it cannot replace again our critical thinking. For instance, if AI provides you a set of conclusions for your research, you still need to apply your own judgment to assess whether they are valid and relevant to your research context. AI should complement, not replace your expertise. Right? So that's do not overlook human expertise. Third, do not blindly trust AI results, because many of you or many of our students right now usually copy and paste the answer of AI. When I reviewed some, you know, answers from an exit ticket, for example, or for an assignment, for example, there are actually um, terminologies that even that student, when I assess that student cannot make, you know, usually don't make use of that in the classroom when we do oral recitation. So do not blindly trust AI generated results. Just verify and interpret the outputs because at the end of the day, if there is assessment in the classroom, you should be asked, right? Especially me, I'm usually doing knowledge deepening or oral recitation or a forum in the class just to check my students if they're learning or not through oral recitation. Now, because of I'm allowing my students to make use of an AI tools in the classroom, then of course I would also assess them personally inside my classroom. By assessing them, I would know, okay, this is not his answer. Because the way he speaks, the way she speaks is is not that really much, perhaps, in the content and she's answering in the assignment for the exam. You should never blindly trust AI generated results without reviewing them. If AI offers you statistical analysis, recommendations for your research, for your report, every time you need to do cross-referencing, cross-check, and cross-check the data, cross-check the information. Why? Because this will help you ensure its accuracy and also recognizing what AI as assistant, not it's a man, a final decision maker. Right? It's just only an assistant. At the end of the day, it's our way of construction. Okay, so do not blindly trust AI results. You should never, ever blindly trust AI generated results without cross referencing them, reviewing them. Right? So that's the don'ts. And that's the end of do's and don'ts. And lastly, it's actually not part of the we call this the objectives a while ago, but I would like to share this one to you because this is very helpful since we're talking here about um, do's and don'ts of artificial intelligence in the classroom. That's part four. Now part five, right? Part five of the guidelines is the guidelines for AI declaration, usage transparency, and detection. I will just focus on AI declaration. Maybe some of you will be asking me, sir, are we allowed to copy answers from AI, and how do we declare it? How do we make use of it, for example, in research? So I'll just give you an emphasis on part five. This part five is about guidelines for AI declaration. Say, for example, here's an example. Here's the AI declaration that was mentioned, in the framework. Everyone, direct your attention please to the screen. AI declaration. All thesis manuscript or research paper or other written performance tasks must include a declaration statement as shown as table 2, right? This statement should have 4 columns. The AI declaration has 4 columns. First, the tools used, for example, ChatGPT. Number 2, descriptions of how the information was generated. Number 3, the prompts you use. What are the prompts? The way you ask should be stated. And lastly, the description of how the output was used in your work. Right? So if you wish to get this form, this is the statement of AI declaration. You really need to have what we call this, you really need to do to sign that you declare that as a researcher. I mean to say you have included that in your study or in your research. Okay, this is everyone. What do you think is the purpose of AI declaration? The purpose of AI declaration is what? This ensures transparency, right? Aside from transparency, accountability and adherence to legal and ethical standards to foster responsible use of artificial intelligence usage. That's why you're attending this webinar, right? To know what are the do's and don'ts, to know if there is a declaration, if you're allowed to make use of this AI tool per what? Per university approved implementing guidelines and policy. Sir, can you give us as an example on how we will be using the declaration form in case if we will use ChatGPT for our research? This is how will you declare. Example number one. Okay. Example number one. I acknowledge, you mentioned yourself, I acknowledge the use of ChatGPT. We need to say you acknowledge that you're using ChatGPT to generate materials. We need to say to generate materials is to generate content, right? Very good. For background research, self-study, and drafting of this assessment. We need to say this can you in the yellow highlights over here, you state what materials or content you want to generate, and then you declare again, I entered the following prompts on when did you enter the prompts, meaning to say when did you enter the question in ChatGPT. Okay, you state the date. Right after that, next, what's next? What is your prompt? What is your question to ChatGPT? You write it. Say, for example, you said there, write 50-word summary about the ICT in education, for example. Then you need to declare it in the form. That's your prompt. And lastly, the output from generative AI was adapted and modified for the final response. Meaning to say, aside it's the recommendations of ChatGPT, it's recommendations of an AI, then you can actually modify it by your own, yes, by your own idea. But make it sure to also learn to consider the use of AI declaration because this will help you support, right? Support your content, your answer. Okay, aside from that, example number two, you acknowledge this is how you will declare, this is how you will declare a research in an I mean AI generated content in research. I acknowledge the use of ChatGPT again to generate materials that were what did you generate? For example, within your final assessment, and then what are the prompts that you entered? Okay, and then you mention it. Don't forget the date, for example, and then the prompts. That's example number two. Another example, how you will declare. I acknowledge the use of, again, ChatGPT to what? Not to generate materials, but to refine the academic language, for example. Then, when was that? When was that you were using ChatGPT? You declare the date as to when, right? And what are your prompts? What are your questions to ChatGPT? And what was the the results of the output? Is it modified or still the same? It should be modified because you're making use of that laman for getting an idea and information. And that shouldn't be replaced your own critical understanding. That just shouldn't be replaced your own knowledge. And that's AI declaration. And we actually have that in the framework. Okay, I want you to have that review on that because when you're taking research, it could be probably helpful. Now, question, sir, where can we put this should we say AI declaration in our research, for example? Do you have an idea? Anyone? Especially for those who have reviewed the materials. You can actually stipulate this at the end of your research study, right? Or should we say appendices? Say for example, you can actually have that being stated there. Okay. If you ask me about what I'm talking here this afternoon on integration of AI instruction in my classroom, sir, did you integrate already AI content in the classroom? Yes, right. I was actually just recalibrated my syllabus. Sorry, not, yes, syllabus. And then I added AI, the responsible use of generative AI in the classroom. Right. So then I would like to share to you that this is the way you integrate AI activity in the class. But I allow my students to use AI with conditions, of course, with ethical considerations. Say, for example, in this module, I am allowing them to make use of SciSpace or typeset.io AI to look for their literature. Sorry, to look for their literature in the research. Okay. Aside from letting them make use of the typeset as an AI tool to look for their research review of related literature, how do I ensure that these statements taken from typeset AI are all ethical, are all valid, are all reliable? Okay, so as you can see at the third to the last sentence, ensure you include three pieces of literature related to the topic and cite, take note, I stated there, cite the sources correctly. Meaning to say, they are obliged, they are encouraged to do citation. Prior letting them know about and use about the SciSpace or SciSet.io as an AI tool, I told them to do citation. And that's important. Why? So that you will not be able to be plagiarized. Okay, so that's how I integrate content writing activity in my classroom in terms of research, review of related literature. I'm almost done. Two more slides left. I'd also would like to share this. In Silliman University, I know for sure that education students and my students are familiar with the AI content reader, or shall we say Turnitin and logs that can analyze students' activities in MySoul. So take note that our virtual classroom, right? Once the teacher we're enabling the Turnitin or AI in the classroom. Once you submit, right? Once you submit an assignment, for example, an activity, and the teacher was able to enable the settings for Turnitin tendency, right? It will be reading your content. What is this? This is actually to making sure that you do your own work in school, just to really check, right? Let's Turnitin. Just to check whether your assignments, to see if it's actually copied from others or not. Right? So that's the integration. We actually have that in MySoul, right? Especially in my research class when I let them create a first draft of their research, or for example, chapter one, then I usually let them send their draft in MySoul, and I enable the settings to turn it in for me to see if there's an AI generated content or not. And also, aside from that, MySoul can also check our logs. May it be a live logs or previous logs. So all of these are one way of what? Securing students or safeguarding students to ensure the use of AI tools responsibly and with integrity. Right? And lastly, I would like to conclude my sharing or session this afternoon the message of again UNESCO on artificial intelligence. The AI really presents exciting opportunities. We know for that, for learning, not just for learning, but for different sectors. But it is also important to approach its use in the classroom, the use of AI in the classroom with care and consideration. I am inspired with this UNESCO's message to use AI in the classroom with care and consideration. So you as students, it is essential to be what? To be mindful of the ethical and privacy implications of AI technology. Best is to really what? Review the AI educational framework or institutional framework of Silliman University for you to be guided. This message reflects UNESCO's focus on what? Artificial intelligence in education, while also highlighting the potential benefits of technology or AI or digital technology as a whole in the classroom. If you wish to know more about responsible use of generative AI applications, then feel free to visit the link. I'll be sharing the link in the chat box in a bit. That is all this afternoon. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you so much, Teacher Jan, for that insightful presentation. So I'm sure everyone has learned a lot about how responsibly use digital technology, especially AI integration in the field of education. So now it's time for the Q&A session. So if you have any questions, so feel free to type them in the Zoom chat box and we'll address as many as we can. Or you can simply use the raise hand icon in the Zoom reactions and then unmute yourself. Okay, at this point, I think there's no more question. So let's proceed to the next part, which is having a photo opportunity with the speaker. Okay, may I request everyone to kindly turn on your camera if your connectivity allows you so that we can take picture of you and then we will post it in the Facebook page of Dr. Mariano Lau, ICIO. So I will just in this part, I will just remove the spotlight and then we will take a photo for you. Okay. So for the rest, okay. So okay, let's kindly turn on your camera if your connectivity allows. And then so just give me a minute. Okay. So just listen to my signal if we are ready to go to take the pictures. Okay, so I can see in my screen, we have 2 frames. So let's start with the first frame. So kindly give your best smile. 1, 2, 3, smile. Okay, so I will just crop this part. Okay, just wait for a while. And then we are going to transition to another frame. So this is how webinar works, okay? So for the photo opportunity, so we are in the second frame. So kindly give us your best smile. 1, 2, 3, smile. Okay, just give me a minute. Okay, thank you very much for turning your camera on. Okay, just wait for a while. You are going to evaluate this webinar session. So you can kindly scan the QR code reflected on the screen, as well as you can visit this particular link. So I will just copy the link and I will put it in the Zoom chat box. That is for you, in order for you to get your certificate of attendance. Okay? Certificate of attendance or participation. So in this part, it's basically a certificate of attendance. So kindly click that link in the Zoom chat box and or scan the QR code. Okay. So for contact information, just visit our Facebook page at Silliman OUL, or you can like and subscribe our YouTube channel for those specific upscaling session for students. So just go to just search Silliman Online University Learning, and you can call us at 035-420-1901, local 417. Or for clarifications for other upscaling session, you can email us at trainsoul@su.edu.ph. So at this point, so I will just give you a closing remark. So before we wrap up, I would like to thank everyone for joining us today, for being an active attendees or participants in this important conversation. So let's remember that being responsible online is not just protecting ourselves, but also about being respectful to others in digital space. So on behalf of the Dr. Mariano Silao Global Studies Center team, so thank you once again to our wonderful speaker, Teacher Jan, and to all of you who participated. So stay safe, very respectful, and very mindful. So see you on our next upscaling session. Thank you very much, everyone.